Hey friends, today I want to talk about learning to turn your obstacles into opportunities and two gems in particular that live within any hardship you may be facing, especially if you're on any kind of healing journey or like self-development path. I think you'll really be able to appreciate these reframes and perspectives. So I'll just name them to start off with. It's an opportunity to self-reflect and actually see how far you've come since the last time you experienced this type of hardship. And then the second one is to actually pause and kind of like reassess yourself. Try and see maybe what this problem is trying to teach you, is trying to show you. It's some sort of like realignment for yourself. So we'll start with like the retrospect. So it's a beautiful opportunity to actually really see how far you've come in a way that you don't always get to see otherwise, that I find really exciting. Because up until, I don't know, about 2 years ago, I realized how much my sense of self was actually lagging behind the person I had actually become. I hope that makes sense. I think that sometimes when we're on these healing journeys, right, we're doing self-development work, we're learning, we're growing, we're embodying, right, we're shedding, we're shifting, all of the things, so much transformation, that it's like you can kind of get caught up in the always trying to become something, right? We're always trying to become better, wiser, more patient, various levels of healed, I suppose. And I think sometimes we forget to pause and to realize at some point the becoming, right, a striving for something actually turns into the became. And like, when does that happen? I've had some really cool moments where I've realized this in the past too. It's like, when does that shift occur? I don't really know. I don't think it's any particular date or time that you can quite put your finger on. But I will tell you that I usually realize it in hindsight, where I'm like, oh my gosh, when I'm self-reflecting, when did that happen? I'd been trying so hard to become more patient. And now here I am, a patient person. I've been working so hard to increase my confidence and this and that. And wait a minute, all of a sudden I'm having it reflected back to me, both by other people and myself. Like, oh, I'm confident now. When did that happen? So sometimes you can use like a hardship or like a pain point, almost a moment of tension, to realize how well you're handling this compared to how a past version of you would have handled the same circumstance, right? All of a sudden you're like, wow, I didn't even realize that I had been able to embody that. It just kind of happened without you even realizing. And I think that that's really beautiful. We don't always get to see that. I realize how much in my own life in particular that I'm not that great at giving myself credit for the things that I do, for the things that I accomplish. A lot of the things that I've ever went after were all for the wrong reasons anyways, and trying to prove myself and my worth, but it was much more like a checklist. Okay, check, check, check. Been there, done that. What's the next thing? And never really fully embodying the experience. And that's no different with all of the inner work and achievements that I've I don't know, embodied in these last 5-6 years. So in these moments where, I feel like I'm almost like going backwards to something, like in my last video, I talked about going back to like a stage of burnout kind of, I realize I'm doing it much better. I caught myself sooner. You know, you really get to see like your progress in a way that you don't always make time for. You don't always realize that you need to. And that really helps your sense of self catch up with who you're actually becoming, with who you are compared to who you used to be and how you used to be, right? You really get to all of a sudden realize that maybe you're a little bit more butterfly than you are caterpillar. And when did that happen? When did that shift happen? It's kind of amazing when you really think about it. Just to learn to give yourself credit for these types of things that not everybody is doing, right? Not everybody's doing like deep dive healing journeys or trying to better themselves. And so it's really important that you learn to give yourself credit. And as you're going through particularly a hard time, right? I'm talking about using these hardships, these obstacles, is time to self-reflect. Like, what a beautiful little gift in there for you. It's like the universe telling you, hey, I know you're going through a hard time, but like, look at how awesome you are. Take a minute and like recognize your achievements. So I think that that's really beautiful. And I will take the opportunity. So your second opportunity in any kind of obstacle is to also pause and kind of reassess where you're headed, right? Like it's a chance for possibly realignment with either where you're headed or how you're doing something. Kind of the idea that rejection is just redirection. I'm sure you've heard that before. And maybe it's just a chance to get a little bit more clarity, right? To apply some of the lessons that you've been learning that maybe you've just been kind of hoarding. Like I know until a couple of years ago myself, I was always just learning. I was gathering information and ideas and things that spoke to me and lit me up from the inside out. But I wasn't actually integrating them or applying them. If I'm being honest, I didn't know how yet. And now I'm also seeing sometimes these pauses, these moments of tension as opportunities to actively apply some of the things that I've been learning that maybe I've kind of forgotten about a little bit, right? Where the lessons and the knowledge actually becomes more a part of you as you apply it to your life. It becomes integrated. It becomes embodied. It goes from a knowing in your head into like more of a knowing in your heart, a way of living. So yeah, you can also use it as an opportunity just to kind of like check yourself, right? Whether it's realizing maybe the thing that you were striving after, where you thought you were going, what you thought you wanted, maybe isn't exactly as aligned as you once thought it was. Maybe you weren't going after it for the right reasons, right? Maybe a little bit of like course correction there. Or maybe it still is, but you're being given an opportunity to see, how do I want to say this? Maybe you're still headed towards the same goal, right? You're still going down the same road, but you're given an opportunity to do it differently. Like for me recently, I realized that I still very much want to continue down the path that I'm on. You know, I want to inspire people. I want to be a coach. I want to do all of these things. But I've realized that some old habits and my ways of doing things were actually getting in my way of my dreams. Like all of my ways of overthinking and overfunctioning and thinking that I had to try so hard. And I was like very rigid in certain ways that I was actually draining a lot of my life force energy. And I was actually poking holes in my own cup and I wasn't realizing that. So it's an opportunity to kind of reassess my energy and my bandwidth and how I can kind of tighten that up and make sure that I'm functioning as efficiently as I can. I hope that that makes sense. So yeah, a couple opportunities when you're in your hardships. And just a side note, this isn't to say bypass your feelings. This isn't to say that it doesn't still hurt sometimes, depending on what you're going through, right? It's not an either or, it's an and. So, like, please be gentle with yourself. Please take care of yourself. Please feel your feelings. Let the experiences and the feelings move through you, right? And at the same time, like, maybe you can just like pan out just a little bit and remember that there's a couple like little hidden gems in here for you too, both to recognize all of your hard work and the person that you've become, and to also reassess where you're headed and where you want to go. And I hope that that helps you find a little bit of balance, whatever it is that you're going through. It gives me a little bit of peace anyways to recognize some of these things, even in moments of deep pain or disappointment. So with that said, I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you're doing well. I hope that this helps, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.